Freedom is the breath of the soul, and music is its voice. Together, they inspire us to overcome obstacles and strive for a better future. Remember, every note and every step forward is a testament to our resilience and hope. Hey there, it's Robert at the Sampleist, and today, we'll be checking out Swords to Ploughshares by Mask Movement, and the quote I read just now is what you will see in the UI of this library in Ukrainian. Swords to Ploughshares is a concept where military weapons are converted into peaceful civilian tools. This library uses real-world sounds recorded during the current invasion of the Ukraine by Mask Histibe. It includes field recordings made in and around his home in Kyiv and during a temporary evacuation in the Carpathian Mountains during the heaviest period of shelling near his home. You can see more of the backstory of this library at maskmovement.store. Swords to Ploughshare currently costs $149. The size is 5.44 gigabytes and can run on the free contact player from version 6.2.2 and up. In this video, we'll be going through some of the presets of Swords to Ploughshares. Do an overview of this library, a composition. We will hear this edgy library in context. I'm looking forward to going through this with you, so let's get after it. Before we start diving into the overview, I do need to state that while the library was provided to us by Sound Iron at no charge, they are in no way influencing my thoughts and opinions on this library, and the developer has had no input or previous visibility into the video before we put it out. With that being said, let's continue. Alright, so let's get right into this. So before I really go and really just get into the nitty-gritty of the library, let me just start by talking about a little bit about, I guess, some of the backstory. Like, this stuff was recorded during a war, and it still is happening. This war still is happening. A lot of the sounds you're going to hear might put you in that mindset, in that setting. There will be sounds, especially in the blasts, where you'll really get to hear what Max went through and probably still is going through. So let's get to it. So first we have the alarms. I actually really like how this sounds. It sounds nice and clean, and I could see myself making a lot of different sounds with this. I actually did a custom once that was used, I think, for Without Remorse, that used car sounds, and that was really cool. So this is really sweet. Next will be the animal effects. It's kind of cool to have all this, especially since you can tweak it however you want. Next, let's go to those blasts that I was talking about before, and you'll get a good feel for this. That's tough. You heard a voice, I think, in one of those, and you hear the cars uh from the vibrations of those blasts. This is a war zone, and you're hearing a war zone. And I'll admit, when going through this, it's kind of messing with me a little bit. Next, let's check out the impact effects. So with this, I could really see a lot of use. Anything that's like rhythmic sound effect, like with like trailer music or film music, there's going to be a lot of different uses for this. You can make a lot of cool percussive tracks with this impact effects. You can do so much with it, especially once you start manipulating it with other plugins. I do think this is probably for me one of the more versatile parts of the library. So next we check out the nature. So this sounds really cool too. This is just for me as good as the impact effects. Honestly, if Max wants to do sound design for trailers, if he keeps this going, he'd be able to make some really cool sound effects for trailers and whatnot down the line. Really cool. And the tool effects. The tool effects actually is something I was thinking about using a lot for the demo. So let's take a quick listen at that. There is a lot of different sounds here. I think that's really cool. Next, the transport effects. Pretty pretty crazy stuff. So that does it for this part here. So this is basically the main patch. And then after that, we can then go to our ambisynths. And with the ambisynths, we have some pretty cool choices, but I think I do think the subsynths, at least the sustains, well, the ambisynths, I should say, the sustains and whatnot, are going to be really cool, at least for me. So let's go through these real quick. Pretty cool. Let's go through all of these and then I will come back to you. Pretty cool stuff there so far. I know I would say I'd come back afterwards, but I really liked those grooves. That's really cool. A lot of different ambient settings to really get you in that world. All right, let's continue. Those voices are, they could be really creepy, huh? A lot of cool different sounds. Let's check out the environments real quick. I'll admit I'm not sure why I'm not getting much out of that. Let me see if what happens if I put up the volume knob over here. So that sounds kind of like a combination of some of the sounds we heard earlier. Let's check out mountains and see if we have the same thing with the volume. And if so, I'll just raise it and go through this one and claxons. The environments sound well. At one point, it sounded nice and pretty, but the rest of it, for me, at least, sounded pretty eerie. So these substances are, for me at least, pretty fun to mess around with, and you'll hear that in the demo composition. Let me just readjust these volume knots so I don't destroy your ears. I could do this all day. So that is really cool because with that, with the pink noise staccatos, you can really go and layer that with other sounds, try to make some cool hits or some cool percussion that has that airy, higher frequency crisp to it. All right. So, of course, it's the same deal here. So now let's move on to some of these future Ploughshares. So this is a preset expansion pack. We're going to only go through a few of these because this goes on for a while. So I'm going to play a few of them and then I will report back to you. So I said I was going to report back to you later, but as you can see, and we'll probably see this with others, this key right here, C3, is going to be the, I guess, the original recording. And then after that, it's going to, as we go through different areas of the keyboard, we're going to hear this change. It's going to be transposed like the audio will be. So keep that in mind as we go through all of these. All right, so let's take a look at this one real quick. So what I've done for the most part as I've gone through these, we've only gone through really through these different sounds earlier in one layer. But as we look at this is using multiple layers. So this has the subsynth sustain of the sine wave. But then we also have the transport effects as well as the impact effects. So you'll see as we go along that there are patches that are going to use sometimes one layer, sometimes multiple layers. So keep that in mind. And we'll go over more things that you see here in the UI section. These are all really cool. And I can tell a lot of time must have been put into making each of these. I did notice that some of these are a little more CPU intensive, so keep that in mind. So let's go to these custom effects right here. And I'm assuming that this will come with easily. And then for this is more extra related content. Let's check out the custom effects. Let's check out after attack, and then we're just going to go through a few of these. have to say, these are all really cool. Again, there's a one or two that are a bit more CPU intensive than others. And that's because it's using different things within the library, whether it's over here, or even in the rack over there. Like, there's a lot that has gone into this. All these different presets, the custom effects. I really think this sounds really cool. The bass sound clean. They sound really well put together. I really think there's a lot of versatility just from using the raw sounds and manipulating it yourself, whether through the library or with your own plugins. I like using using the plugins I have to manipulate so many sounds. After all, I do sound design as well as composition, and I could see myself making some really cool sounds with the raw recordings here. At the same time as I do them, I'm probably going to feel a little weird because some of these sounds, like, you really hear that rawness, that it's kind of sad, kind of, I don't know, it's just this dark type of feeling sometimes because, like I said before, this was all recorded during a war that's still going on. So that does it for this section. So next we'll go into the UI, and with the UI we will go through different parts of this whole instrument. All right, so here we are with the UI, and we'll just pick up from where we left off here with the Ukrainian Carpathians woods. And so, of course, you have all this over here. So let's start from the top here. We have the cog here, which gives us access to the LFO, the waveform for the LFO. You can also choose it through there. You choose what the LFO will be targeting. And then the speed, the intensity, and fade in time. I do like having some fade in time for it, because if you don't want to start right away, then you can just have it gradually creep in, which is kind of cool because you start with the sound as is, and then as time goes on, then it gets manipulated. I like that. Filter here, you can choose the type you want. Right now it's on, I think, low pass. All these different ones. For me, whenever I mess around, I like using more of the vowels or the phaser. And then just going from there, and adjust the resonance, frequency, invert it too. It's really cool. So this is something I don't really mess around with here. You can set the filter levels when the source is set to using the table, which is kind of cool. Just over here, you can choose all the sources here that to go with. It's pretty cool. All right. You can also, you go through the different pages here. This is the legato. Ooh, I like portamento. You could change the legato speed. Oh God. Yeah, and this is really, I think, adjusting like the legato speed. You could also toggle it on and off. Let's put that back to regular legato. Then we have the arpeggiator. You have different presets you can choose from, but you have to make them. So you make them, then you save it. Or if you have other ARPs that you haven't really saved, but you've gotten from somewhere else, I suppose you have, or you're taking it from one computer to the other, you can load it from here. For the mode, I think this is really cool. You can change how the arpeggiator is playing things. I think I'll play around with this some more. We will come back to this. You can adjust the swing, the randomization, the duration. For each step, the direction. I like some craziness. Random is probably really fun. And then the beats. I like this. The rhythm of the arpeggiator, which I think is really good to have. And you have all these choices. Well, actually, I should say it's necessary to have the rhythmic pattern. Otherwise, what's the point? The bank. Oh, wow. I like that. Looks like we have all these already saved, which is nice. Let me go back here. Okay, that's different now. Because for a while it was empty and I thought it was just user, but I guess not. Sorry about that. For some reason, it all disappeared on me. I probably did something wrong. So you have so many different presets to choose from. I think that's really cool. So now, let's get out of here before we really go crazy. Okay, cool. Everything is off. So you can choose whichever layers you want to use by clicking these. You can toggle them on and off right here. And then this right here will link different layers together, which is kind of cool. You toggle one of this one and it'll go to this one. Same with here. And all the ones that you lock in place will be adjusted as you adjust a layer. So that was a layer that wasn't locked, but there it is. The offset is linked, while this one is not. Let's reload the patch here. You can choose your samples here, or the category here, and then you choose the sample for each category, I should say. This is the volume knob for each layer. The attack, the offsets. You can offset you can change where the sample will play once you press the key. So this is interesting. The fade time you can adjust the fade time here, but you can also have it set to pad mode, which gives the release time like a longer release, like much longer, I would think. And you can and if you put it into normal, it's just regular release. I'll just put it back to pad. So the vibrato. We have two different types of things here. You can adjust the setting here for the depth, and then you can also press the rate. So you can adjust that here, different settings. And then here is how wide you want to mess with each layer. So you can adjust the panning. It's all center right now. And then you can adjust the width. And this is spread pretty wide. And then over here, we can adjust the tuning. So this is adjusting it by steps, or I guess semitones, as it says there, or half steps if you're American. And then here you can really fine tune it in terms of sense. You can make it a little sharper, a little flatter, or you can go crazy. For this, we're just going to leave it as is. All right, so now we have another thing to think about here. So, perfect. I like how this patch is already set up for this. So we have this A and B and then the X fade. I've already done 2 videos for sound iron libraries that cover this, which is sweet. So if you haven't seen those, you should check out the Sick library video, well, Sick Ultimate, I should say, and the Hyperion Strings Ensemble as well. Good libraries. But since you're here, the X fade. So there will be times where you might want to go from some samples in a track to others. And you have them all lined up here, and you're thinking, I wish there was a way to go transition without having to make another track or having to deal with key switches and whatnot. So this is where this comes in nicely. You can also blend. So right now, we have Absinthe 2 and Layer 2 in our B layer, and Absinthe 1 and Layer 1 in our A layer. So we technically have two real, I guess, multis to play with. And with this X fade, you can go between the A layer and the B layer. So you can go through layers 1 and layers 2. Right now we're in the middle, so we are playing everything. I press a key and it's going to play everything. However, all we have to do is right click or control click or whichever you're using, PC or Mac. Press learn MIDI CC and then move your fader or twist your knob, and then you can go adjust. So all we have to do now, let's press a key. So all you have to do is just move the knob, twist the knob, move the fader up or down, and you can automate how much of either layer you want. And I think that's really cool. To go back to the Hyperion strings, I'm using this a lot to go from legatos to tremolos seamlessly. And when their major brass album comes out, I plan on doing that with legatos to flutters and whatnot. From here, you can go between so many cool different layers, nice sustain layers, even staccatos. You can just do a pattern and go from one layer, go from your A to your B or B to A, and have this cool transition in sound. You can have something sounding pretty and then basically mangling it. I really think that's sweet. Next, we have our rack. And I think there's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. You have a lot. You have 4. Well, 4 really here. And then you have 2 more. So you can have sends and post. Let's press one of the presets. And with these presets, it'll just open their set rack options. But with each slot, you can open any of these. Any of them. And it's really cool. You can have really cool sounds. You already heard me playing around with this. So that's just one preset for these. Let's do another. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that. And you can save a preset too. If you mess around, you like what you made and you want to use it for other different types of sounds you make later on, you can save it. You can reset everything. You can even delete the preset. Well, you could. That's pretty good to have. Other than that, honestly, I really think that's it. Other than this, before I forget, how could I forget? Let's press reset. Put that as close to the middle as I can. Let's turn on the ARP first. For some reason it disappears. I just press that again and it pops up. So we have the ARP selected. I'm going to do that. I like random there. Let's do quarters. Let's put some real gaps. Now let's play it. Okay, so it wouldn't work so well with this. I think more with a shorter articulation that would work better. I might look for one of those later and then turn that on. For the filter though, now let's play around with that. Now let us use the LFO. Let's have it sent to the pitch. Let's do that. Too fast. Now let's see if I can put up a good short sound, short articulation here. So let us try. Let's go. Let's put in minimalist. Hear how that sounds. Let's try it with this. You can hear it repeating as it goes. I think that's really cool. What if I slow it down? And better yet, what if I did glisses? Don't want to change the mode. Ooh, Mixolydian. Now that is cool. It's basically like going up like a harp in a way. I think that's really sweet. I could really see good use with this, especially with the sign the ambisynth, like the signs. These here, the staccatos, I could really see a good use of that, especially if you have that going and then you have the LFO slowly creep in. And you could also have another have it aid when you have a cool B layer and you slowly automate that in. I think that's sweet. I think that's really cool. All right, so that does it for the UI. Next will be a composition where I try to do this library justice. Alright, so I hope you liked the track. I really tried to do this library justice. It's really well done. So let's get started. So first I use the tool effects. And if I really wanted to fine tune this more, anything to make this better to me, I would add the mod wheel to this. I would assign the volume knob to the mod wheel and then use the fader to really put crescendos or decrescendos into this. So you'll hear what I mean. And more so here. Is it necessary? Probably not, but just something to give it a little oomph. Next are the blasts, which is just, well, blasts. And I cut it short. I don't let it ring out because I just want the initial hit. Very nice. So next is where things get interesting. And as you'll see, I like tweaking things. I love tweaking sounds and having cool results. So here you're going to hear the sirens and alarms, and I'm going to use 2 of them. And I have automated various things here, various parameters. You hear a delay, not here, but when this section comes in. You're going to hear different types of dynamic EQ going on too. For the 2 different sirens you're going to hear, as well as how how Portal's going to be used. So let's hear it. Now we're going to this part. Now it doesn't sound like that normally. Turn that off. Now this is how it actually sounds. But with that on, I think it actually adds a cool dystopian touch. Cool. Next is Bunker, one of the presets made for this. And I love Bunker. So let's hear from here. And so this comes in with our sine chords, and it helps add that twist to our dystopian world. Put it in context. I love the radio sounds in this library. I don't know why, it just adds this cool touch. Next, subdued sine ambient. Normally you would think it's the subsynth, but not for this. It's beautiful. High. And with Portal, with Black Hole, it shines. But with Portal, that all goes away. And I bring it back here, like with the last chord. However, actually no, the first chord. Sorry. However, I lower the amount that Portal's being used. Just try to bring some of that sound that was once nice. Show that it's not there anymore. Next are the booms, which I really like. There's something about that boom to me that is something you more feel, and I think that's awesome. You feel that, right? It's a nice sound. It's probably gonna be something I use more, especially with trailers, or better yet, when I'm writing for games, films, and whatnot. I think this is it's not too hard, not too much. This is just right to me. I usually use a different library for this, for booms. This is now going to be added to what I usually use. Of course, I could just make my own too, and use this as an influence as to something good that sounds really good. But I think I want to use this because this was a passion. This was a project filled with passion to get this right, to get this done. Next, slightly warped pad effects. So this is more of just like a texture, something you'll hear, kind of feel. You hear it. You for sure hear it. But when you hear all the other elements, you don't really pay attention to it. So that's more of why you feel it. Next, I took the impact effects and added some chorus to it. I really like this sound because it adds this type of intensity to lead up to another section or a main downbeat. It's really cool. So next, we have Azovstal Catacombs. Let me close these two. And I use this to help try to add this sense of push. It's percussive, but not in your face, which I like. Last, but certainly not least, the Bleak Sea Submarine. Now, I think I will use this a lot. And you're probably thinking, why? So what I did, let's just play it how it's supposed to sound. And it has all the staticiness once the initial sound goes away, which is really cool if you want that setting. This type of tense, ominous setting after the initial Brahm comes out. What I did was add some isotope to it, as well as some EQ. So it's Isotope Trash, the second one. I think there's a newer version, which I probably should get. So it's kind of like going through an amp, which I probably could have done through the rack, but there's something about Trash that takes sounds and makes it work really well. Thank you to my friend Andreas Gajewski for that idea. And I use it a lot now. I also have a low pass that lets up as we go along, so. So that really gets intense. That really gets edgy. And I love it. I love this sound. So are some of these sounds originally what they were? No. Some of these sounds were manipulated by me. And you might think, why would I do that with external plugins? You can adjust all these sounds as you want within the library as well. Me using plugins outside of the library, at least to me, show that this library is very inspirational in making me think of different ways to make some cool sounds or automate some cool ideas. I have not really messed with automating anything like this here that you heard with the subdued sine ambient as it gets mangled. I never really tried that before. For some reason, just hearing and thinking about it, I thought this is perfect. Try it out. And same with the Bleak Sea Submarine, same with the sirens and alarms. I really just kept on doing different things because these types of sounds inspired me. This library was very inspirational in making my own types of sounds. I will be saving some of these sounds. I will be using it in future projects. I will be, because it's that cool. I really like this library. I like the effort that was put in by Max, but also by Sound Iron, and putting all of this together. I know that Max, I was told that Max really put himself through a lot of risk to get this done. So a big kudos, big congratulations to him, because this is an amazing product, well worth the money. Great job. So my final thoughts for Swords to Ploughshares is that it's really well done. The sounds are clean. It has a lot of uses, and as you saw in my composition, I really was inspired to try different things. Try to make sounds be clean at first, but then dirty and mangled. This library for me is a really good tool for that. It's got a lot of nice Foley recording that you could use to make some cool rhythmic patterns, cool rhythmic loops, and really good tracks. I could see this used for a lot of different film applications, trailer applications, game applications, and so on. The list goes on and on. Even the sirens could be used for a lot of different things. You can even make your own risers, which I think is sweet. So yeah, for the price, this is insane. This is really good. Great job to Max for putting so much work into this, and for Sound Iron for pitching in on this. So yeah, that does it for this video. Please like and subscribe to the Sampleist. We all work really hard to get things going here, and I hope you appreciate it. And by all means, comment below. I want to know what you think about this library, how you would use this library. Please let me know what you think and what you would do with it, because I do read the comments. I try to respond if I can. So yeah, that's it. Happy writing, everyone.